Greetings, fellow music instructors. My name's Kais, and I've been teaching music privately for 20 years. We counted the lessons, and it's probably somewhere around 40,000 private guitar lessons I've taught in the last 20 years. And I wanted to share some tips with you that might help you get started on your own practice of teaching guitar if you're getting started. The first thing that I'm going to tell you about is retention. If someone signs up for guitar lessons with you, chances are they're not looking for a single guitar lesson, that they're looking for an ongoing mentor. And you need to foster that. And so the first thing I do to increase retention is offer your lessons at a monthly fee where they have a lesson once a week. This is like a flat monthly fee, kind of like a gym membership or something. Take a round number like $100 a month, and then they receive one lesson once a week for that flat fee. Occasionally, they might get 5 lessons in a month, pardon me, and that's okay. They get an extra free lesson occasionally, and otherwise, it's just a very simple way to keep things nice, consistent. To me, there's a rhythmic element to this. You know, if you pay once a month, you're teaching people about rhythm in a weird way. The next thing is going to really help retention is ask people to select a time and a day that works for their schedule that you have available. You know, give people a window of options and allow people to select a time that they like best for their weekly schedule. Once a student selects a time, don't change it. If someone says they want their guitar lesson on Wednesday night at 7 p.m., and then you sign them up for Wednesday night at 7 p.m., don't take a random Wednesday night gig playing a show someplace. Your gig is now that lesson. This means a lot to people when you're consistent and you provide them that service for what they signed up for. You know, they're setting their schedule up in advance, and as before, they're committing for a whole month. You'll find that you're teaching people about rhythm this way. There's a nice, steady, consistent time it's going to start at. Start on time. You know, if the lesson's at 7, it starts at 7. You know, if they show up 15 minutes earlier for their lesson, well, still starts at 7. I had a brick and mortar studio in San Diego for about 8.5 years. Well, actually, geez, yeah, 9 years. And I had a little chair sitting outside the door. So if somebody showed up early for their lesson, they could sit there and warm up, practice. Sometimes students are really excited when they show up a little early for their lesson. Well, if you're like me, you're going to be having students back to back, and someone can't show up early for their lesson. Same thing, you want people to show up on time. You don't want them to show up late either. So, point being, when someone picks a time for their lesson, don't change it. This is something you can do to radically increase your retention. People will appreciate you, and they will fall into a consistent rhythm of showing up for their lesson at that time. It'll become part of their natural rhythm of life. So those are 2 tips. 1, charge a flat fee for the month. Do not charge by the lesson. Charge a flat rate for the month and collect that payment at the beginning of each month. And once they pick a time, don't change it. You're going to find if you change the time, here's what happens. Let's say you got a gig on Thursday night at the Wellington Steakhouse in San Diego, and one of your friends has a gig there, and then they want you to come fill in and play with them on a Thursday night, but you normally teach lessons on a Thursday night. This actually happened to me, by the way. So what happens is you normally have regular students on Thursday nights, but then occasionally, randomly, you cancel those lessons to go play a gig. What you're doing is you're telling the client that that gig is more important than them. Now, I know that sounds a little harsh, but that is sort of the subliminal statement that's being made. hey, I know we normally have your lesson at this time on this day, but I'm going to go do this other thing instead. All right, my Thursday nights was a shambles for a long time because of that. All right, you wind up having to reschedule the lesson, then they have to find a time to reschedule too, right? It's much more consistent to just charge a flat fee for the month and don't change the time once they pick it. Trust me, it helps so much in retention and consistency. I highly recommend it. So those are my 2 tips for beginning instructors. Charge a flat fee for the month, give them a lesson weekly at the same time that they choose. Don't change it. And those 2 things made a huge difference for me building my client base as a music instructor, which at one point peaked out at about 40 lessons a week. So hopefully this is useful for you if you're getting started teaching music. Feel free to ask me any questions in the comments below, and I'll be happy to answer them and try to help. Or if you reach out to me, my email is kicesd@gmail.com. That's kicesd@gmail.com. And I do private lessons still, and I'm accepting students for Skype or Zoom type lessons if you're interested in that. Or if you just have a quick question for me, write me a comment and I'll be try to answer that for you. All right. And if you like this video and you want more in this series, I'll be happy to make them talking about other tips as a music instructor. Thank you.